has become such a lifesaver for me when writing papers because it's essentially
I will ay kacit lang. Okay, so good morning, everybody. We're going to start with our class. I'm fixing the internet. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is working much better than the data, but sometimes the internet also is not cooperating. So that's why I have to shift to the data. So this is our challenge here now in the campus, especially during brownouts. Also the signal of the globe is also affected now. So we can, but anyway, we can we can start now. So okay, so uh, I hope you are now there, ready for our live stream. Okay, so good morning once again. Can you hear me? Is my voice clear now? Anybody in the house? Hello? Kindly write any feedback. Oh, sige. So may I start? Kindly, kindly indicate, no? Kindly indicate your attendance now. We're going to start. Okay, so may I start with a prayer? Gracious loving Father, we are happy for this another day you've given us, for the good night rest, for sustaining us with good health and strength, and for today that may able to learn uh, uh, things that are necessary for our discussion, and also we'd like to learn something from you through this day. Help us, Lord, uh, to accomplish the task we need to finish, and may all the things that we're going to do today uh, would give glory and honor unto your name. Thank you for hearing us in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. So who is in the house right now? I have one now. So that I can start now with our discussion. Okay, so we have Cesar Gaan. Okay, thank you. Carl, good morning. Uh, I think is Emilio kanina siguro, no? I'm Emilio maugapon si Cesar dai. Okay. Now, I'm going to discuss Hess law. This is a continuation still about the topic thermodynamics. I think last Friday, yes, we discussed, and we have some computation about the application of thermodynamics, especially the first law of thermodynamics. And it's very, very interesting because the knowledge of this is very, your knowledge of this is, you can apply it to explain things that are happening in our surrounding. No, so nganong ga panghitabo ni siya? It is because it can be explained by thermodynamics. No, even when you cook, no, you are actually applying thermodynamics, especially the first law. Now the second law, with its entropy, is more applicable to physics. It's more applicable to physics. So engineering, now the focus of that application of that second law or entropy is focused on engineering. Whereas the first law, which is enthalpy, usually focused, or it is more applicable to chemistry. No, chemistry. Okay, so this time we're going to use this law. in explaining thermodynamics. Here, root doesn't matter. So we have the products, and we have the reactants, and we have the products. But I think I have another. Okay. May I use the other slide time pa. Na isa ka slide rin mas very kwan. Dili na siya mao. May I dili galing siya. Oh, this one. Okay, may I use this? I have modified this. Okay. So, what is Hess law? Now, it states that if a process can be expressed as the sum of two or more steps, the enthalpy change for the overall process is the sum of the delta H enthalpy values for each step. So, daghan na siya. To use Hess law, two principles must be understood. One, if an equation is reversed, the sign of delta H value is also reversed. Okay? So, that's why we need to take note of this. So, okay, so what is enthalpy? Enthalpy is a state function. As such, delta H for going from some initial state to the final state, which the pathway is independent. So when you say independent, you can choose what pathway you are going to use, but the result still the same. Now, still the same. Okay? Now, another. Hess law, or the delta H for a process is involving the transformation of reactants into products. So it's not dependent on the pathway. So you can choose what pathway. Therefore, you can pick any pathway to calculate the delta H for any reaction or any problem. Itong paggamay siguro. Murag dako-dako ra. Okay, that one. So we have this calculation. Since it's a function, you can calculate the result. So like also what we had discussed last Friday, now especially in tracing the direction, the energy being used. So this one is more focused on chemistry, where we can trace the chemical reaction by using different compounds, no, different compounds. Okay, so this is still under application, application of the Hess law. So what is this? If a reaction is reversed, take note of this. This is very, very important. Now, so if the reaction is reversed, then the delta H is also reversed. Pag balihon nimo siya, ibalin na po nato. No? So, like for example here, we have nitrogen 2 plus oxygen 2. So, these are reactants, no? R. I hope you are following. So, reactant nitrogen 2 and reactant nitrogen oxygen 2, no? So after chemical reaction, this is the sign of chemical reaction. This is now the product. Okay? And we have here the delta H. That means the energy being utilized in what? During the chemical reaction is about 180 kilojoules. Okay ni. Dili pa ni siya paano. I am just explaining the definition of Hess law. That means it is a function and you can trace, no? You can trace the chemical reaction. Now here, we have here the product. So the product is being decomposed. So still the same, decomposed into nitrogen 2 plus oxygen 2. So di ba pareha lang yapon siya. But here, why is it negative? Take note of this ha. Nganong na negative naman ni siya? Here, positive. Okay? It is because from right to left, when we call this one as we reverse R. R means reversed. When we reverse, then manigative ni siya. Kining 180 delta H, no, now is negative. So take note of this. This is just how the law is being applied. So don't get confused because the law is already there. We need to follow in order to understand the application of the law. We need to follow the law. So the law states that when you transfer or reverse the equation from the right, this one, this is now the product. So you are going to transfer it here. Diba? And you decompose. Kini kaniha combination, combining nitrogen 2 and oxygen 2, then the product is 2 nitrate. No, so here nitrogen oxide rather, kung nitrate kay NO2 NO3. Okay, so here nitrogen oxide, then we reverse the equation. We have now here, gibalhin na to from right to left, and then this delta change ato pong negative. I think the things that we have discussed before can give you explanation. No, unsa ganito, utilizing the energy, whether the work is done on a gas, kini dili man ni gas, chemical man ay reaction, is being utilized or being work on a gas, or work is done on a gas, or work is done by the gas. Diba? Yung na atong ginapan. Okay, so let's just continue, no? Because we are just interpreting Hess law. And then later on, we will have the computation. And we are going to apply this law, especially in explaining different chemical reaction. Okay, more. If the coefficient, kato permiro ha, pag reverse, i-reverse pod. Okay. If the coefficient of a reaction are multiplied by an integer, so ang integer ganit sa number, whether 1/2, whether 2, or whatever, maupod ang atong kuan. The delta H also is multiplied by that same integer. Pag ingon og 1/2, then the delta H plus 180 kilojoule. If you multiply that one to 1/2, then that means this 180, it's not anymore 180. Pila na siya? Ang 80, 40, o 50, 90 kilojoule na lang ni siya. Because, what? Because we multiply it to 1/2. Diba? So, delta H is multiplied by the same integer. So, we have here the example. 3. I-multiply na to dire. So, 3 times 2. So, mahimo na po ng 3 na po ang imong i-multiply aning negative. No? So, this is how to interpret. Only, this is not yet the problem. Ha? This is, I'm just explaining how to apply the law. So, 6. Kini. Bebe, magkuha kong calculator ha. So that means 180 times 3 equals 540. Sige. So kay ato maning reverse kanina, this is now negative, di ba? So since the integer is 3 here, we're going to multiply the delta H, di ba? Kay ingon dire, if the coefficient of a reaction are multiplied by the integer, the 3 is the integer here. So we are going to multiply also the delta H to the same integer. So that's why here, the delta H now here becomes negative 540 because we multiplied it by 3. Okay? So we have also here, in the chemical reaction, you should what? You should remember that it must be balanced always. So kinahanglan in a chemical reaction, the product is always equal with the reactants. The reactants, the result of the combination of the reactants should be equal with what? The product. So, how many nitrogen here? 6. So, you have also 2 here to balance the equation. Balancing na siya, simple balancing na master na ninyo ang balancing. No, so 3 times 2 equals 6. We have also 3 times 2 equals 6 for oxygen. Okay? So what are the things we need to remember? First, if you are going to reverse the equation from right to left, then the positive would become negative. Okay? And next, if the reaction are multiplied by an integer, the same integer would be used to multiply the delta H. Kining ilang mga energy nga gigamit mo na siya. So okay, so that is only the definition of Hess law. Hess law. Okay, may I start with this discussion. So to understand more about Hess law, kinahanglan tag background pod, no, like what I did last meeting. Diba, we are discussing about thermodynamics. So naapatay gibalikan pa nato ang entropy and also enthalpy just to understand the term, because nga naman god siya, during the pandemic, this is not gi-shortcut na nato atong discussion in the classroom. And another thing is we don't have the laboratory experiment. No, we don't have laboratory activity. That's why to me as your teacher, murag daghan pa ang dapat itudlo sa inyo unta before this topic. So mao naman gyud ni siya. So we can just adapt, no? We can just adapt, no, to our situation. But anyway, I can just review some important things before we are going to discuss the topic. Okay? So kanina, di ba, pathway, we are talking about pathway or mga pathways, and you can choose what pathway you are going to use. Mao gyapon ni siya. Route, pathway gani, route doesn't matter sa ato pa bisag asa. So reactants, we have intermediate, kung diri ka mo agi, and then into the product, the same result, no? Reactants then product, the same result. So the pathway here does not matter too much. Okay, example here. So reactants, we have this delta H. Delta H is the same either way. Maagi ka diri nga pathway going to the product or directly towards the product, no? So pareha gyapon ang result. Now here, this is the big idea. So I think I have explained it, no, thoroughly last meeting. Now when mahimo ba siyang exothermic Can you still remember? I hope so. And endo. Endothermic. That means the delta H. What happened to the delta H? Like for example, this is the level. And then, during the chemical reaction, the delta H, no, the energy level is now here. So this is the final state diri gikan. So that means unsa ni siya? This means that this is endothermic. Endothermic. Just a little kana review. Why? Because the energy from the surrounding is utilized during the chemical reaction. And what happened, the delta H increased from this level, ni ana siya dire. But if the reverse is happened, meaning after the chemical reaction, this delta H decreases, and that is meaning that is exothermic, meaning during the chemical reaction, more of the energy is utilized and released into the surrounding. That's why after the chemical reaction, the delta H, unsa man siya, decreases. So we have here, no? The product, we have the reactants, we have the intermediate step. So depende what pathway, but anyway, they are all just the same, and it does not matter. So whether here nag-increase siya, nag-increase, you can just follow here, nag-decrease, and so you just follow. But anyway, the end result of the delta H is still the same, no? So pareha lang whether asa imong pathway nga gamiton, because the principle there is energy cannot be created nor sa man siya, cannot created nor destroyed. Naalang siya permanente. So whether gi-release into the environment or the surrounding, released into the surrounding, or the surrounding is also supplying energy into the system during the chemical reaction. May I continue? Okay, here. We have here the delta H is 200, negative 200. Mana siya? And we have here the reactants. Then we have the product, negative, ni ubos siya. So more of ni gamit is being utilized from this level, no? So during the chemical reaction, ni ana na siya, then ni drop siya. And then this one here. So this one is what we call unsa siya? Exo. Di ba? Exothermic. Why? More of the energy is released into the environment. Released into the environment. Okay? Pero pag diri na pod siya, lahi na pod nga kwan, 1,000 kilojoules, and then still the same di ay nagkwan siya. Okay? So during the chemical reaction, ni taas siya and then ni drop siya gyapon dito. That's why the result is delta H negative. So morning kwan dire. Delta H, this is the final phase. No, the product. So here we call it as exothermic. Exothermic reaction. That means more of the energy is released into the surrounding during the chemical reaction. So that's why unsa ganitong ato P is unsa man minus R. So if the product is lesser than the reactants, so the answer is negative. So exothermic. Whereas if the product is greater than the reactants, then it is negative, and that is endothermic. Okay? So just a little review ha, gi-review lang nako kay very related man gud ang atong gina-discuss diri, no, related to this topic. Okay? Let's continue. Di ba last Friday we are talking about thermochemical reaction, thermochemical cycle. The same. So we have the reactants. This time we'll be using chemical equation. So very focused to chemistry. Kay nga tong mga water unsa na to pag break down sa water into hydrogen and into oxygen. So atong i-break down. Okay? So pag breakdown na to, it uses unsa man energy, no? So during the chemical reaction. So what happened? Okay, kini ha reactants. We have the reactants. So like for example, H2O. It's 2 plus O equals H2O. Pinaka-simple na. Ano to? So this H2O is the product and this one are the reactants. And the reactants are made up of elements. No? Elements. So we can also reverse this one. Di ba? Natay katong mga chemical reaction atay decomposition, combination, single unsa to mga kan, single displacement, double displacement, combustion. No? So I think you can still remember or recall all those things that you have learned. That is I think in grade 10. Grade 10 na siya. Break into elements ang reactants. No? So kay po na siya. Okay, let's continue now. Now what is the delta H for the formation of ammonium chloride? Okay, na example na to. What is the delta H for the formation of ammonium chloride? So this one is in H3 kuan pa na siya. This is ammonia. Ammonia. Double N ba ng ammonia? Yes. Okay, this is ammonia in H3 plus hydrochloric acid. This one is hydrochloric acid. So what happened when during the chemical reaction when you combine ammonia with that of hydrochloric acid? This is the result. The result is ammonium. Medyo pan siya gamay ha. So what is the what is the delta H? Okay. Here. So we have to break, we have to decompose into elements aron masabtan nato. So first of all, kining ammonia kini in H3 is made up of nitrogen 2 we have here and we have hydrogen 2 here. Ingani kung pagkuan atong unsa nato atong i-break down. And we have the hydrochloric acid again. We have also the hydrochloric acid nga 1 each dire. Na siya contribution ani. But since these are what we call diatomic nga makuan kani, so that's why ang N dire 2 it's 2 kay mga diatomic ni sila, no, nga elements. And we have also chlorine here, 2 diatomic elements. So this is breaking down elements, no, the reactants into different elements. And then later on, we are going to utilize, no, into what? Utilize this to make it into a product. There. Now here, is it balance? Dili pa siya balance, no? So kini siya karon, the result of this is the kini. Dili pa siya. So how many nitrogen? Isa. No, so from this kini, but no, na siya dire. And we have also hydrogen here. Pila man ka hydrogen? 2. No, we have 1 here, another hydrogen there. So, 2 H2. Duha na ka, dere-dere. Ay. 2. Diha na siya. And we have 1 only. Kini nga nung 1/2 man o asa gikan. It is because gitunga nimo ang 1 into 1/2. Again, there is only 1 nitrogen. So your product must have also nitrogen because you have nitrogen in the reactants. I hope you can follow me. Again, you have only 1 N. So you need another N in the product also. So karon ka isa raman, you need to multiply tungaon nimo ni siya into 1/2 because we have only 1 nitrogen. Okay? So pag tunga nimo ana, that's why you have to multiply N into 1/2. So i-multiply nimo, nibalik na siya dire. And then 2 times 2 here plus 1/2 chlorine. Again, chlorine. We have only 1 chlorine here. And we don't have chlorine on the other side. So that's why, gi-multiply na ang chlorine into 1/2. Wala pa ta, padayon pa ta. Another thing, you should always indicate the phases. Importante ni siya. G, what is G? Gas. And then, hydrochloric acid, gas gyapon nga hydrochloric acid. So, result niya ta na gas, no? So, the phase, no? The state of the substance must be indicated during the chemical reaction. Okay, that's very, very important. Let's continue. So, we have now here. Okay. So, from NH3 plus HCl, it needs to be balanced. So, the reactant must be always equal with the product. So, in terms of their masses. So, karon ni ana. So, N times N2, kani. Are you following? N2 times 1/2 equals N. Isa na lang. Ang duha, 2 times 1/2 equals 1. That's why we have now 1N here. Then, 2 times 2 for hydrogen, we have this 4. It's 4. So that is balance. For chlorine, we have 1 chlorine only here. Kunya, duha man atong gibutang dire kini. Kay diatomic man na siya. So in order to eliminate this 2, you need to multiply it to 1/2 here. So when you multiply this to 1/2, you have 1L. 1Cl here, chlorine. So that's why atong ikuan karon ang atong i-balance nato atong equation. We have 1 nitrogen, we have 3 hydrogen, we have 4 plus another 1 here, so 3 plus 1 equals 4, so we have hydrogen 4. For chlorine, we have 1, chlorine, we have 1. So, when you mix ammonia plus hydrochloric acid, the result is ammonium chloride. And ammonium chloride, at ako na lang dugangan sa inyong kan, is salt. Salt ni siya. Unsa na siya? Nga naman, this is acid. So acid. Imong kanon dire sa slightly kini ammonium. No? So sa base, ang result niya is neutral product. Okay, so that's not the focus of our discussion. So what is important here? The reactant must be equal with the product. As you break down the elements, no, during the chemical reaction, and then the result, no, here would be balance, no? Balance. So we have a balanced equation here. Padayon. Dugangan nato. Wala pa tay delta H ato. Ha? So the importance of Hess law is during the chemical reaction, the delta H can be computed. Delta H, pwede siya makompute. Pila man. Okay, here. So this one is given. Natay table ani actually. So dili na mo nga kuan pod nga permanente gyud nato computon. Anyway, it is given. So delta H mo ni siya ang iyang enthalpy change. Delta H negative 46. Hydrochloric acid negative 92. Ammonium pila? Ammonium, the result, the ammonium sulfate, sulfate naman. Ammonium chloride is 314. So meaning, tanawan na to, calculator. Wala pa ni. Wala pa din eh, kaya na pa chemical reaction. Nga, pa na to. Okay, so we broke down into elements, but how much energy would be needed to turn those elements into reactants? Muna ang kuandere, into reactants. No? So, the result here is negative. So, dito na nato makuha. Nganong na negative man during the chemical reaction? So, we can infer whether exothermic or endothermic. No? Exothermic and endothermic. Okay, here. Let's continue. So, padayon ta. Now, we have this negative 46 ahagikan. That is for the what? Ammonium. Negative. Plus, asa manigikan ang 92 from HCl. Okay? Still negative here. So, negative 46 plus negative 92 equals 198 lang. Di ba? Ngano nga, ingani naman siya. Okay, here. So, it's only negative 38. So, there, you can infer that it is either, unsa man siya, endothermic ba or exothermic. Because this is the final state or the final product. Now, here, paano na to? So, plus 38. And then, the result is unsa negative 14. So giingani day nato siya. This is now the delta H. Okay? So that negative 38 atong gi-reverse diri siya gibalhin nato dito. So that's why we have now this positive 138 minus katong kanina nga ammonium sulfate, which is negative, unsa siya? Negative 314. So, if you are going to add this one, it will result to 176 kilojoule per mole. So, this is now our delta H. I know nga murag wala pa gyud ninyo mag-graphs thoroughly. But we have more activities of this. This is not yet the exercises. This is just the explanation on how to apply the Hess law. Hess law. Okay? Padayon ta. Now here. Okay. What is the delta H for the formation of the ammonium chloride? So you have answered now this question. No? So you have there that 176 kilojoule. Okay? Here. So another way of describing them is through the use of summation. Mo ni kuan pero ako dili kay ko ganahan ani, mas ganahan ko kato nga kuan. No? So delta H equals summation of all delta H, the final product, minus the summation of delta H, the final reactants. Kini. So this is the final products negative kanina, no, di ba? Minus, di ba, ang atong formula is P minus, okay, P minus R. Okay, take note of that. That's why kini P minus R. Kini minus. Equals negative 46 plus parenthesis gi ko na to negative 32, multiply na to, then we have this delta H, no, delta H. Okay, so kini di man nimo ma-add ni mga kuan kay negative pa ni siya, this one here, this one mao na siya ito. So that's why we have negative 176 kilojoule. Kilojoule. Padayon ta. Daghan patagkuan. Daghan patag. Okay. So, we will make a simple illustration. Kay katong murag dugay-dug pa na kayo sa inyo, no? Siguro. So, we'll make a simple illustration on how to apply the Hess law. O, pananglitan. O, kini lang. A plus B equals C. And then, assuming na ang delta H is 100 joules. 100 joules. Then you have another chemical reaction. C plus D equals E. And it resulted to, pila man, 200 joules. 200 joules siya. And then, sa nahitabo, maghimo tag ikatulong nga pa nato. So, A plus B equals C, 100 joules. C plus D equals E, 200 joules. So, ato na siyang itotal. No? That's why we have this 3 here. Unsaon nato? Now, from first chemical reaction, here, we need to cancel out. We need to cancel out kanang common terms. Ay aron dili na nato, we will not focus on that anymore. So like here, na I see there is a first chemical reaction, na po there is C sa second nga chemical reaction. So ato na siyang eliminate. So asa na lang ato? A, here, A plus B, na ang B na to. And the second chemical reaction we have D. So diri ang nabilin is equals to E. Okay, so here. Karon, this is very simple. Sabto na to. Chemical reaction, A plus B equals C. C plus D equals E. And then we canceled out here ang C. So in the third reaction, kay wala na good siya. Wala na siya. No? Then we have E. The delta H now is 300 joules. That means imong gitotal na siya resulted to the delta H change, no, or the delta H is 300. Ing ana ka simple paggamit sa Hess law. Adayon. Okay. Now, more kan lang yapon. So A plus B equals C. Muna ni siya. Karon ang imong pananglitan, you have 2A sikan ni nga kuan sikan nimo nga chemical reaction plus 2B equals 2C. Karon kay you have 1C is equivalent to 100 joules. If you have 2C, that is equivalent to 200 joules. Okay? And then what happened to A? Pananglitan, if ang A nimo is you multiply it with 1/2 and B also is multiplied to 1/2, so the result is 1/2 C. 1/2 C. So you multiply 100 into 1/2 and the result now is 50 joules. Kuha ninyo? I don't know kay di man ako mo makita nga gawan ba, but I think it's very easy, no, to understand using this liters rather than kato ganina ako tong gitsulay lang good and then karon dere pero ibalik nato now using the elements, no, and compounds. Again, so let's analyze. This is the application of this is when using an integer. Kung unsa imong ikuan dito, imo siyang i-double pod o 1/2 siya, i-1/2 siya, no? So ang A plus B equals C, 100 joules. If you have 2A plus 2B, you will spend 200 joules. If you have 1/2 A and 1/2 B, because 100 is your ang kuan mo is 100 joules, 1/2 of that is unsa man siya, 1/2 of C is 50 joules. Let's continue. Ayun. Now, say na pan. Atong kuan. Di ba application apply na to, i-reverse na to. We will reverse it. So A plus B equals C, 100 joules. 2A plus 2B equals 2C, 200 joules. 1/2 A plus 1/2 B equals 1/2 C equals 50 joules. So karon, this is our equation. No? So pila man ang kanto. If ato siyang i-reverse, kining C, dalo na to dito. C equals A plus B. Di ba? Dire kay A plus B equals C. 100 joules. Karon atong gi-reverse. C equals A plus B, still 100 joules, but we have this negative. Okay, gi-reverse na from the right to left. So this is now what we call, kuan man gud siya, decomposition. Gi-decompose na to from a product. Ang product na to atong and we spend energy in decomposing it. No, so ang result na to dire is negative 100 joules. I think nakuha ninyo ang explanation. No, so it's easy to understand the diagram, no, the explanation. Unsay atong kuan dire gi-add nako is when you reverse the equation. Okay, padayon. Now here, tugangan na to. First equation, 2A plus 2B. Here. Kung dili mo mag-focus, you cannot understand actually. Sabi niyo yung kanra. But this is very important. Okay, 2A plus 2B equals 2C. And how much? Pila ikan? 300 joules. Now, second equation, nagamit na siya E equals C plus D. Then C plus D equals negative 400 joules. 400 ha? Then we will have the third equation. Unsaon na to? Naanay A na to dire. So we have A. We have B here. Butang po natong B dire. We have also D. Diba? D and here. And we have E. Now what happened to C? Atong eliminate ang C. Kaya you can find it on the first equation and on the second equation. So therefore, ang atong third equation, wala na nato gi-appeal, gi-cancel out nato ang C. So we have A, we have B, we have D equals to E. What is now the delta H? What is now the delta H? So we have A plus B equals 150. Anong 150 man? At kay gikan sa 2A ato manggi himo natong isa. So from 2A, which is 300 joules, we multiply it to 1/2. Dire multiply na to. So multiply the 300 to 1/2, nahimo na ang A plus B na to is 150 na lang. This one, 150. Now, how about in the second equation? O, atong gi-reverse. You look at, giyon sa pag-reverse. Kanina, this C plus D is here in the right. But on this second equation here, 1 man siya, 2 here. And the second equation, we reverse, dito na siya paingon. Kapo, ang tawag na agad sa klase, kay maklaro yun nato atong mga, maklaro yun nato akong mga estudyante, no? Yung ani. So, we have here, gi-reverse na nato. Pag reverse nato, what happened to this? The negative would become positive. So, that's why we have now here, C plus D equals E, then 400 joules. Okay? Now, for the third equation, A plus D equals E, you just total that, and you have the 550 joules. Okay? So, sayon na kayo. Sayon na kayo ang pag-apply nato sa Hess law. No? Hess law. Panang uban. Okay, here. Patagan ta mo time karon nga kamoy mag-compute. Kung sige lang. Okay, we have here another. Mao naman dito akong explain. So 2A plus 2B, that is this is the first given ni siya, dili kay gikuan lang ni analyze ra man gud nato ang chemical equation. So sila ang ga-provide ani ang chemical equation. So we have 2C, wala pa ni siya. Wala pa. So let's analyze pagsunod. Sunod is E equals C plus D. And we have this one. Ayaw sa ning reverse. Do not think of this yet. Then A plus B plus D equals E. And we have the delta H. Okay? So, ang ato, this one is given. Kini siya. So, sa problem, that is given. So, asa ka mag-start? Diri na dayon ka. Pag pero 2A, giunsa na dayon siya. Atong gi-reverse, atong gi-eliminate ang C. Di ba? Gi-eliminate nato ni okay. Kini and this one. Wala na ni. X. So the result, we have A, B, and D equals E. Kining E, kini. Wala man nato nag-appel. So A plus B plus D equals E. So first, we will analyze from 2A, nahimo na lang A plus B. Di ba? So that means from 2A, it becomes A. So nahimong 1. Unsaon man nimo pag-multiply sa 2 nga mahimong 1 na lang. Kay isa naman lang ng A. So by way of multiplying it to what? 1/2. When you multiply 2 to 1/2, mahimo na lang siyang isa. That's why instead of 2A, it becomes 1A. Likewise, with 2B, it becomes 1B. Okay? Now, the product is 2C, supposed to be, it becomes C. So, therefore, the same integer, you multiply to the elements, or to the reactants rather, the same integer, you are going to multiply to the delta H. I mean, naon say tawagan na specific heat. So, when you multiply that, there, you have only 150 na lang. And for C and D, negative. Dili mo itong i-explain ako. We reverse. Kini dito na siya. Diba? Nag-reverse. So, when you reverse, imo pong balihon. Di man nato mamakwa na siya. Wala man siya multiply nga kwa nimo. So, this one, ang pagbali nimo ani is becomes positive. Becomes positive. So, that's why we have now positive here. So A plus B plus D equals A equals, this is now the delta H. Delta H is equals to 550 joules. Okay? Almost, kaya na ta. Hapit na ta human. Ay, kini. Magkwanta ani. Mag-compute ta siya sa ingani. Magkwansa ka. Gamay lang. Sige, you try. You try analyzing the equation here. We have 1. This is the first equation. 2, 3. So, mo nilang answer. Ilan na ning answer? So, kita maghimo na tag 1 dire, 2, and 3. So, what happened later on? Kung makuha na to ni siya nga equation here, kini, then, correct ang atong pagkahimo. So, ingani. Sige, you try ko no. Testing lang diha. Hindi ko kita sa inyo, but if you religiously do it, no? Makatuon gud mo. So, ano na to primero? Atong i-analyze dire. What will you do first? Katong mga the same nga mga eliminate, i-cancel out. Aron nga masayon lang like this, oh. Cancel out man nato ang C. So, wala na napakita ang C. Likewise with here, the same, i-cross out lang sa ninyo. Sige, you do it in your paper. I-cross out dayon ang pananglitan, you have here, Unsa may parehas. Kini. We will eliminate that. Daghan, no? Basta parehas nga kung sa algebra pa, similar terms, no? In algebra. Pasagdahin ang mga kini-kini as long as ang iyang element pareha. So the same elements you are going to cancel out. Sige, I will give you time, no, to do it. Sige. Sige, ato nang kaan. Siran. Sige, let's focus now. Atong ansiran. So we have, we are going to eliminate the same elements that can be found in reaction 1, reaction 2, and reaction 3. So we have oxygen 2. Napay oxygen dire? Yes, naa. Kung naa pa gyud tanan, pwede na i-cancel out. Wala na. So duha. Kini siya dili na oxygen kana na nitrogen oxide. So we have N2, another here, N2. We have also N2. Dire. Aron gamay-gamay na lang atong problema. Sa pay sunod, we have N2, oxygen. Napa? How about hydrogen? H2. Here. I hope nga kapaminaw mo unya Kay sayon ra kay na siya. Asa man ang isa ka H diha. Okay. So this time ato namang gipang eliminate. Ato nang i-balance. You will notice in reaction 1, pila na lang kabuok ang imong makita. Dire. It's only what? It's only in its 3 or ammonia. O wala na gi-cross out na natong duha. So simple na kayo. Now this time, unsaon na to ang ammonia? We are going to break down these two kini, ang nitrogen o hydrogen. So ana na to na siya. Into N. N. Yon plus unsa man? Kini H. So we have that kana siya. So ato nang gi-breakdown. So we have pila man ang kuan dire, dili man ni siya mabalance. Kung ingani, we have 3 here. We have also 1 only here. So sa may maayo ani, ato di siyang multiply sa 2. Okay. Okay ni. Sa ato pa kini man god, wala na ko nabutang ang 2. Okay, here. Okay? So we have only 1 n, kay n2 ra man kan dire. Kini. So n2 plus unsa siya? It's 2 kay diatomic man na sila. Ana lang. So if you have only 1 n here and then you have 2 n here, if you have 1 h here, napo kay isa kan dire nga h, kay dili man ka pwede nga kini multiply na kog 1, kini multiply na kog 2. So isa ra ka integer. So here, let's take out this nitrogen because you have only 1 nitrogen here and you have 2 here. So multiply 2. So kung multiply nato ni sa 2 kini, 2 times 1n equals 2. Okay? Kini na pod multiply nato ang kini sa 2. This one. Multiply na to 1h times 2 times 1h equals 2. So that's why we have now the chemical equation na to. Ingani na. 2NH3 plus 2 nitrogen plus 2 hydrogen. Okay? So, ingana na siya. Pero dili man siya mabalance. Di ba? Dili siya mabalance, di ba? Kini. Okay. So what will you do? Kini man siya ang imong kwan, kini. Ang basihanan nimo. That means nga 2 pila ang hydrogen dire on the other side? 6. So atong himuon nga 6. Okay? Kay nga naman, niaman ang atong kuan kini ang iyang final product sa kuan niya is 4 man siya kung atong gikuan. So that's why we have this atong himuon nga 4 kini 2 kini himuon natong 6. Okay. So kini kay ang atong water diri is 6, ang ato diri is 2 only. So we will make that into 6. Okay. Kini karon nitrogen nato diri is 4, right? And our oxygen is also kulang-kulang dai ni naikuan dai ni ani. Sorry. Wala na ako nabutang. So our nitrogen here is 4. Kini wala naman ni given, di ba? Kini this one is given. Kini given ni siya. So we will base our computation on this given. So, primero, 4NH3. Asa nagkuha? Kulang man tong ato. Kay 2 raman to siya. 2NH3. So, times 2 na to. So, 2 times 2 na himong 4. And also, like this. Ang diri pod on the other side, because we multiply that kini multiply it to 2, so himuon nato na siyang 4. So we have now this one, 4 in its 3, 4, unsa na dayon siya? We have this one, plus 6 to, so na himong water. There. Okay? So, akong balikan ha. So, ingani lang sa 1. Himuon nato na siyang 2. Sunod kining dire, himuon natong 6. So, 4. We will not include this water first. So, 6, it's 2. Again, 4 ammonia plus 2 nitrogen plus 6 hydrogen. The result of that, ang kanya is positive 184. Kay ngano man 184? Kini kay gi-multiply man nato ni kanina dire og 2. We multiply it to 2. So that we can have that 2 in its 3 nahimo ng 4 in its 3. Kining into gi-multiply nato into 2 times 2 2 times 1 equals 2 into. Okay. Kini na pod nga hydrogen 2 there nga 3. Kining 3. This one 3. Multiply it to 2, so that's why we have now 6. Nakuha ninyo? Okay. Again. 2 in 3. Multiply to 2, we have 4 in its 3. Kining into 1 into multiply to 2, so 2 into. This one it's 2. So it's 2. No. Sorry. 3 it's 2. 3 it's 2 times 2 equals 6 it's 2. Wala pa ning water ha kaya sa sunod na. And then the result of that, kini multiply this to 2 also. So if you multiply this to 2, we have this positive 184. Kay positive man siya. Okay. So first pa na siya ha, first. Let's go to number 2 nga equation kini. What equation here or what is not cancelled out or kini lang ang 2. Kini gikuha na to. So our focus diri lang gyud ta sa water. Okay, we will write water here. Na bang water diri? Na pa. Sorry. Gikuha na to. Siguro wala. No, so we will have here. Okay, so we have water here. Dayon, no, water. Wala na ang na to, water. Pero dayon we have, so atong i-reverse kining water, 2H2O atong ibalhin diri sa pikas on the other side. Okay, so we'll have here it's ako sa nang erase link number 3 it's 2O. So it's 2O. So we have here 2. Diba? So, and then, there is a pikas, we will have here it's. Kining it's 2O ato ng karon, atong i-breakdown. No? So, gi-reverse na to It's 2 plus oxygen. Oxygen 2. Kini. So ato nang i-breakdown. So from here ato gi-transfer dito. Gi-transfer nato dire. So it's 2 O2. Pila man dire sa atong kan ang 6. Dire, ang water dire. Di ba 6 kini? So that's why ato nang ikuan dire. So pilay kinahanglan nato nga kuan. I-multiply nato aron makuan siya. Makaabot og 6. Kay wala man ni oh. To kato. So we have only 2 here. Kini 2. So you need to multiply to what? To 3 to have this 6. And then nahimo po ning 6 dire kay aron mabalance. Okay? Kay 6 man ni times 2 equals 12. So 6 times 2 equals 12. I hope nga you still remember your balancing. Your balancing. 6 times 2 of this water equals 12. So here, alang-alang unsa may imong ibutang aron mabalance. So you need to what? Have this 6. So 6 times 2 equals 12. 12. How about oxygen? Dire on the other side. Kini. We have 6 oxygen here. So therefore, how to make this balance? You will write here 3. So balance na. We have now the balance equation for number 2. Kini kanina, gibalance na to na siya. This one, 6 for hydrogen, 12 for hydrogen, 6 for oxygen. Okay, balance. At let's go to number 3. Okay. So let's go to number 3. Karon, let's deal with this. So ato manggi kuan karon, no? Ato manggi reverse siya. So this 572 gi-multiply nato sa unsa man siya? 2 500 gi-multiply nato de atong kuan multiply. May I get my calculator? 572. There. 572. Asa na siya? Okay. Pila gi-multiply nato kanina aron nakuha nato ang 6. So 572 times wala makuha. One more. Sayop akong pan. 572 times 572 times 3. 3 man atong gi-multiply kanina, dire times 3. Okay. So multiply this to 3, then the result here is dire mahimong negative 17 16. Okay. So why negative? Because we reverse. Kini siya, we transferred it here, and this one dito. No? So what happened to this positive 572, which we multiplied to 3 kay aron nga nakuha nato ng 6 dere. How to get this 6 is by way of multiplying this 2 into 3, so we have this 6 in water. Okay? So that's why the delta H will multiply it also with the same integer 3. And the sign is negative because we reversed. Okay? So adto na dayon ta sa atong kuan number 3 nga diri nga may kuan nato diri sa number 3. So we have into plus O2 then we have 4 NO here. Kani 4 NO, this one 4 NO. Diba? So karon, how to balance kining atong kuan diri kay how many if we have now 4 nitrogen here. We have 4 oxygen here. So we have 4 nitrogen and we have 4 oxygen. So how to balance this? So we need